Very pleasant and happy morning to every one of you. Dear students, welcome to Ammu Simple Maths. This is R.Amuthavalli, your maths teacher. As a continuation to the previous session, let me start question number 21 from your Ncert exercise 15.1, that is from chapter 15, probability. Shall we get started? Okay, watch carefully. Question number 21. A lot consists of 144 ball pens, of which 20 are defective and the others are good. Nuri will buy a pen if it is good, but will not buy if it is defective. The shopkeeper draws one pen at random and gives it to her. This is the situation given. The question is, what is the probability? The first part is, what is the probability that she will buy it? And the second part is, what is the probability that she will not buy it? Okay, now let us analyze the question and step into the solution part. Total number of ball pens are how many number? It's given as 144. How many are defective pens? They are 20 in number. So, shall we find out the number of good pens? Yes. So, we have to subtract 20 from 144. So, 144 minus 20 gives you 124. So, how many good pens are there? 124. Okay. Now, let us see the first condition. If the pen is good, Nuri will buy it. For that, what is the probability? That means the probability of that event can be written as P of E equal to number of favorable outcomes divided by number of total outcomes. Here favorable outcomes is number of good pens and total outcomes is 144. It's given in the question. So the probability is 124 divided by 144. So it can be simplified and the fraction obtained will be 31 divided by 36. And the common factor is 4. So we simplify the fraction 124 divided by 144 and we have obtained 31 by 36 as the answer. Okay, now let us concentrate on the second part of the question. What is the probability that Nuri will not buy it? So that means you can apply the formula. This can be taken as P of not E. How can you calculate P of not E? So you can calculate P of not E as 1 minus P of E. What is P of E? P of E is the answer of the previous question. We got it 31 by 36. So 1 minus 31 by 36 is, 1 can be written as 36 by 36 because the LCM is 36. So the resulting fraction will be 36 minus 31 divided by 36. So the probability then Nuri will not buy it as 5 by 36. I hope you have understood. It's a very important question. So please practice very well. Okay. Now let us move on to question number 22. This is also one of the very important questions in the exam point of view. Please listen carefully, children. 2 dice, one blue and one grey, one blue in color and one grey in color, are thrown at the same time and complete the following table. This is the first part of the question. You have to complete the following table, and for the sum 2 and for the getting sum 8 and for getting the sum 12, the probabilities are already filled in the table. For the remaining sum 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10, 11 only we have to find out. Okay. First let us step into the solution of the completing the table. Then let us see the question number part number 2. Okay. Here, what is the event? Getting sum of 2 when 2 dice are thrown. For that, first we must recall what are the total outcomes in the sample space. For that, already I have taught you a formula. A dice has 6 faces. Here 2 dice are thrown, pair of dice are thrown. So 6 square is the formula. So 6 square is how much? So 36. There are totally 36 outcomes in the sample space when these 2 dice are thrown. So that will be 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 3 like that, 1, 6 like that, 6 rows, 2, 1, 2, 2, 2, 6, like that. It ends up with the last row 6, 1, 6, 2, dot, 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 6, 6. So totally there are 36 outcomes. I hope this one you can recall. Okay. Now let us see how we have got the probability 1 by 36. The sum of dice, sum 2 will be displayed on the 2 dice. 2, that means for that favorable outcome is 1, 1. 1 plus 1 will give you 2. So the favorable outcome is 1 only. Total outcomes, that is in the sample space, there are totally 36 outcomes. So the probability is 1 by 36. Similarly, we can find out for the sum of 3. What is the probability of getting sum of 3? What are the favorable outcomes? 1, 2 and 2, 3. So there are 2 favorable outcomes. So the probability is 2 divided by 36. You can simplify it as 1 by 18. Okay. Next, let us move on to what is the probability of getting sum 4. So what are the favorable outcomes? 1, 3, 3, 1 and doublet 2, 2. These 3 are the favorable outcomes. So the probability is 3 by 36. So 3 by 36 can be simplified as 1 by 12. Okay. Next, what is the probability of getting sum 5? So 1, 4, then 2, 3, 3, 2 and 4, 1. So how many favorable outcomes? 4. So the probability of getting the sum 5 is 4 by 36. That can be simplified as 1 by 9. Okay. Next, what is the probability of getting sum 6? Okay. Let us recall what are the favorable outcomes. 1, 5, 1 plus 5, 6. Then 2, 4. Then 3, 3. Then 4, 2 and 5, 1. So how many actually this favor the sum 6? How many outcomes are there? 5 outcomes are there. So the probability is 5 by 36. Okay. Similarly, we can find for how many outcomes favor the sum 7. That are 1, 6 and 2, 5, 3, 4, 4, 3, 5, 2 and 6, 1. So how many are there in number? There are totally 6 favorable outcomes. So the probability of getting sum 7 equal to 6 by 36, that is 1 by 6. Okay. And now next, what is the probability of getting the sum 8? For that it's already mentioned, it is 5 by 36. Now let us move on to find out how many favorable outcomes are there for the sum 9. That is 5, 4, 4, 5, 3, 6 and 6, 3. So if you add up these two numbers, you are getting the sum 9. So the probability of getting sum 9 equal to 4 by 36. 4 by 36, you can simplify and you can obtain 1 by 9. Okay. The next thing is, what is the probability of getting the sum 10? That is 4, 6 and 6, 4 and the doublet 5, 5. So there are only 3 favorable outcomes, that is 3 by 36. You can simplify and you can get 1 by 12. And the next one is 11. What is the probability of getting sum 11? 5, 6 and 6, 5. Only 2 favorable outcomes. Only these 2 outcomes only favor the sum 11. So therefore, the probability of getting sum 11 equal to 2 by 36. 2 by 36, if you simplify, what will you get? Yes, you are right. 1 by 18. And the last in the box, that is the probability of getting sum 12 is, that is 1 by 36, that you all know. 6, 6, 6 plus 6 is 12, that is the only one favorable outcome. So you are getting 1 by 36. Okay. Now we have completed the table. Okay. Now let us move on to the second question. A student argues that there are 11 possible outcomes. See, we are getting the sum as 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 and 12. Therefore, the student argues each of them has a probability 1 by 11. Do you agree with this argument? Justify your answer. Students, do you agree with the argument of this student? I'm not. See, I'm not for the argument of the student. Why? Please think over. Here, from the table, see the table now only we have completed. From the table itself, you can understand their probability is different. The sum, getting sum 2, getting sum as 3, getting sum as 4, like that till 12. we are getting the probability in different ways. So they are not equally likely outcomes. When they are equally likely outcomes only, that student's argument is correct. So this is the justification. So how can you give the justification? Here the probability is not equal. So they are not equally likely outcomes. So the argument is not correct. I hope you have understood. Now let us move on to question number 23. A game consists of tossing a 1 rupee coin 3 times and noting its outcome each time. Hanif wins if all the tosses give the same result. That means 3 heads or 3 tails, and loses otherwise. Calculate the probability that Hanif will lose the game. Okay. Now let us get started with the solution part. Okay. When 1 rupee coin, a coin is tossed 3 times, we have to find out the total outcomes. That means we have to find out the outcomes which occupies the sample space. How many outcomes will be there? For that, a formula I have taught in the basics video. Coin has 2 faces and here 3 coins are used. So formula is 2 to the power n. 2 means that refers to the 2 faces of the coin, and n refers to the number of coins. So 2 cube is 2 into 2 into 2, that gives you 8 outcomes, that are HHH, TTT, THH, HTT, HTH, THT, TTH and HHT. So like this 8 outcomes will be there in the sample space. Okay. So if Hanif has to win the game, the probability will be, see, HHH all the same thing, either 3 tails or all 3 heads. So there are favorable outcomes 2 only. Suppose if Hanif has to win the game, means the probability will be favorable outcomes divided by total outcomes will be nothing but 2 by 8. 2 by 8 if you simplify, you will get 1 by 4. But the question is, what is the probability? We are asked to calculate the probability that Hanif will lose the game. So that means P of E naught. That one we have to take it as P of E naught. So how can you calculate P of E naught? P of E naught equal to 1 minus P of E. So if Hanif has to win the game, the probability is 1 by 4. So if Hanif has to lose the game, means 1 minus P of E equal to P of E naught. So 1 minus 1 by 4 is 3 by 4. 3 by 4 is the answer. Okay. Now shall we move on to next question, students? Question number 24. It's a very important question. It's a 5-star question. In board exam point of view, it's a very important question. So please watch carefully and practice well. A die is thrown twice. What is the probability that 5 will not come up either time? The second part question is 5 will come up at least once. Here you have to understand, see, throwing a single die twice. Throwing a single die twice and throwing a pair of dice simultaneously will be treated as the same experiment. That means the sample space has same number of outcomes, the same outcomes 36, because a die has 6 faces. So 2 pair of dice means 2 dice are rolled. So 6 square is 36 outcomes. This also already you have learnt. So the sample space will be 1, 1, 1, 2 like that, 1, 6 in the first row, second row 2, 1, 2, 2 up to 2, 6 like that it goes on. Sixth row will be 6, 1, 6, 2, 6, 3 like that it ends up with 6, 6. Okay. So the total outcomes will be 36. Now what is the first question? 5 will not come up either time. That means 5 should not take place in the outcomes. So for that, if you want to find out, we have to find out in which outcomes 5 is there. That means in the second part of the thing, first we have to find out. The second part of the question is what? 5 will come up at least once. That means here the term at least has a very significant meaning. At least means that number and more. At least once means 5 can be there at least one time or even 2 times. At least once what at least once means, you have to take the meaning as 5 can be presented one time or even more than that, even 2 times also. So shall we list down in which are the outcomes that favor number 5? Yes, please recall 1, 5. Yes, we are right. Next 2, 5, 3, 5, 4, 5, 5, 5, 6, 5. Then 5, 1, 5, 2, 5, 3, 5, 4. And 5, 5 again you should not repeat. Already we have mentioned, so we have to exclude that. And 5, 6. So 6 plus 5, there are totally 11 outcomes. 5 is presented. Okay. So now the first question is what? 5 will not come up either time. Means what you have to do? That is, if you take 5 will come at least once as P of E, and 5 will not come up either time, you can treat it as P of E naught. That is nothing but 1 minus 11 by 36, or otherwise 11 outcomes 5 is present. So 5 will not come up in the remaining outcome. The remaining outcomes means you have to subtract these 11 outcomes from 36 outcomes. 36 minus 11 is how much? 25. So the answer is 25 by 36. So for the first question, the first part, 5 will not come up either time. So the answer is 25 by 36. So the second part, already we have found out 5 will come up at least once means, so there are totally 11 are favorable outcomes and total outcomes 36. So the probability is 11 by 36. It's a very, very important question. Okay, now let us move on to the last question of this exercise 15.1. Question number 25, which is a justification question. For the given statements, you have to analyze and say whether the argument is correct or not, and also you have to give reasons also for your answers. Which of the following arguments are correct and which are not correct? Give the reasons for your answers. If 2 coins are tossed simultaneously, there are 3 possible outcomes. 2 heads will come, 2 tails will come, and or one of each. That is either head one time and tail one time. So therefore, for each of these outcomes, the probability is 1 by 3. Okay. What do you feel? Is this argument is correct? No, the argument is incorrect. It is not correct. Why? Let us recall what are the possible outcomes if 2 coins are tossed simultaneously. So let us recall the formula. The total outcomes will be 2 square, that is 4. What are they? HH, then TH, HT, TT. So now shall we find out the probability of each outcome? So probability of getting HH, both heads, that means 1 by 4. Probability of getting both tails will be 1 by 4. What is the probability of getting head or tail? That is HT, that or TH. That is two outcomes it favors, because H is one time, yet in HT, H is one time, T is one time, and similarly TH also, H ones and T ones. So probability of getting head and tail, that is 2 by 4, that is 1 by 2. So the what the argument said, that was not correct, because in the question it was given the probability is 1 by 3. They are not equally likely outcome, they have different probability. So the argument is incorrect. Okay. Now let us move on to the second part of this question. If a die is thrown, there are 2 possible outcomes, an odd number or even number. Therefore, the probability of getting an odd number is half. Okay. What do you feel, students? Is this argument is correct or incorrect? This argument is very much correct, because what are the possible outcomes, total outcomes in the sample space? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 outcomes. Okay. What is the probability of getting an odd number? What are the odd numbers? What are the favorable outcomes? 1, 3, 5. There are 3 favorable outcomes. So probability of getting odd number will be 3 by 6, that is equal to half. Similarly, the even numbers are 2, 4, 6. So probability of getting an even number is 3 by 6, that is also half. So the argument is very much correct. I hope you have understood all the questions which I have taught in this exercise. Dear students, please practice several times and make thorough. Thank you.